Evelyn, take me inside how you see this moment. I mean, I think that Ali gave us a really good window into how President Zelensky sees it and what his strategic imperatives are, and how he's seeking to sustain the world's interest and his country's fighting spirit and military advantage. Tell me what's going on the other side and how you sort of analyze the state of the war at this point.
Well, I think, Nicole, first of all, thanks for having me on, and thanks for those nice words you said, because I've been watching Ali out there, including in Hungary, which is the country my parents came from. So it is important to send people out there, and there's nothing like the firsthand account. Look, President Zelensky and the people who have been following this crisis even years ago, decades ago, in the sense that this is Vladimir Putin's campaign to assert control over Ukraine and to eliminate democracy in his sphere of influence and to regain a place for Russia and himself in history. So we understood right from the beginning that this could get worse. It could always get worse because of his objective. I think on the other side, what you see now, and I'm very interested to see this in our government in particular, a real understanding that Vladimir Putin is not going to stop unless he is militarily defeated. That's what I feel coming out of my former colleagues. They're not saying it, Nicole, but that's what I'm feeling, that they understand, and that he must be defeated because this will continue. So,
you know, I hear some of that in the kind of responses you hear from former Ukrainian ambassador Bill Taylor. When I say how does this end, he basically says that Ukraine wins. I want to ask you, it's also been pointed out to me by former U.S. intelligence officials that we cover Russian disinformation in a very shallow manner. We follow sort of the chain of command from something Putin says to the echo chambers in the far right of our politics here. But it also incorporates something more to the core in Russia, that Vladimir Putin didn't tell his country they were going to war. He told them they were going on a special military operation to denazify Ukraine. That what this can look like at the end for Vladimir Putin, when you've lied your way in, is not necessarily a stinging defeat, but it can look like something more narrow. How do you think that plays into the sort of wiggle room for any negotiations or any exit strategy for Russia?
I mean, I think, Nicole, if he wanted to exit now or soon, he could probably exit and keep his lie more or less in. As time goes on and more Russians die and don't return home or return home wounded or in body bags, it's going to be harder for the Russian, and when with stories, it's going to be harder, I think, for the Russian people to continue to keep the lie up, keep the fiction up. I could be wrong on that, of course. You know, I have not lived in Russia. I don't know the Russian psyche, you know, that intimately. But, you know, they understood what was happening in Afghanistan. And it didn't take 10 years for them to realize that they didn't want their sons and husbands dying there. So I think that the Russian people will figure out, more of them will figure out what's happening as the war drags on. But we are in a dangerous situation right now, though, because he does control the narrative among most of the Russian population. And they have bought into this idea that this is a nationalist move that Russia has to take to make sure that there isn't some kind of Nazi fascist regime in Ukraine that somehow threatens Russia.
And it is a lie that has seemingly, Max Boot, held up, even as for the last 7 days, the world has been confronted with its first images of the atrocities, of the war crimes, of the genocide, as President Zelensky has described it, playing out in Bucha. And there are reports, there are interviews all day long of what's happened in places where we don't yet have journalists documenting it. What is your sense of sort of this moment and where we're heading next?
Well, I think what you're seeing exposed now, Nicole, are two things. One is the level of Russian military ineptitude and the level of evil that the Russians are willing to do. They basically tried to capture Kyiv very quickly. They failed abysmally. They have suffered a devastating defeat in the north of Ukraine in the last several weeks. They have lost probably at least 15,000 soldiers. The Ukrainians say probably 18,000. Just devastating, devastating losses. They've lost more in a little more than a month than the Russians lost in Afghanistan in 10 years in the 1980s. So they have suffered terrible defeats. The Ukrainians are winning the war, and the Russians are basically responding by killing Ukrainian civilians because they are too incompetent to defeat the Ukrainian military. So they are taking their wrath out on Ukrainian civilians. And it is sickening to see, you know, the carpet bombing of Mariupol, the attack on the train station in the east, and of course, the hideous war crimes that are now being revealed in Bucha and other places where it's not just targeted executions, it's also torture, it's rape, it's looting. Every horrendous misconduct you can possibly imagine is being committed by the Russians, but it is not working. I mean, this is the Russian strategy, is to break the will of the Ukrainians, and we see consistently it is not working. This is why these kinds of atrocities in wartime so often backfire. I mean, Donald Trump used to talk about, oh, you know, bomb the living daylights out of them, torture, kill. This is the way you win war. No, this is not how you win wars. It usually backfires because it simply leads to more resistance among the population. And the Ukrainians are now 100% united against this evil that is being visited upon them by Vladimir Putin.
It's amazing, and I want to come back to something that happened this week, now that I have you, Max Boot. 63 or 64 House Republicans voted against a non-binding resolution affirming our country's commitment to NATO. Something unthinkable, something unimaginable, but something quite obviously the byproduct of 4 years of a President Trump, 6 years of the Republican Party morphing into sort of something more akin to Trumpism, a different ideology, a post-Republican party. What do you make, not just of what it says about them, but of how that emboldens Vladimir Putin at this very dangerous, harrowing hour in the war?
I think any kind of division in the West, any kind of support for Putin certainly emboldens Putin, because he is losing on the battlefield in Ukraine, but he thinks, I'm sure, that he can still win a political victory. And there is some evidence that he is making gains. When you see, for example, Viktor Orban, the most pro-Russian leader in Europe, getting reelected in Hungary, or you see a pro-Russian leader getting reelected in Serbia. And right now you see Marine Le Pen, who is this Trump-style pro-Russian populist, who is mounting a very strong campaign in the French presidential election with the first round on Sunday. And of course, here at home, you see Donald Trump continuing to kowtow to Putin, saying how smart and savvy he is. You see Tucker Carlson on Fox News night after night repeating these bogus Russian propaganda claims about Ukrainian bioweapons labs, which is basically just giving an excuse to the Russians to use chemical weapons. And of course, you see the vote that you just alluded to with all of these House Republicans refusing to back even a very vague and general resolution of support for NATO. So yes, it is very bad news for the future of the Republican Party, but it's also very bad news for the future of the world, because this is going to convince Putin or provide evidence for him to believe that he can divide the West and that the West will not stay resolute in the face of this Russian aggression.